You're almost asleep. Your body is relaxed. Your mind is drifting. And then, out of nowhere, your entire body slams awake like you just fell off a cliff. Your heart is racing. You're breathing fast. And you have absolutely no idea what just happened. Your brain just tried to save your life from nothing. Almost every person on Earth has felt this. You're drifting off, completely relaxed, and suddenly your whole body convulses like you've been electrocuted. Sometimes you're falling in a dream. Sometimes there's no dream at all. Just a sudden violent jolt that snaps you wide awake, heart pounding, wondering what on earth just happened. Some people experience it every single night. Others go years without it, and nobody fully understands why. It's called a hypnic jerk, and despite being one of the most common experiences humans share, science still doesn't fully agree on why it happens. What we do know is stranger than any explanation you've probably heard, and it starts with what your brain actually thinks is happening as you fall asleep. Here's what makes hypnic jerks so fascinating to neuroscientists. They happen at a very specific moment, the exact transition between wakefulness and sleep. Not before, not after, right at the threshold. And at that threshold, something goes wrong in the communication between your brain and your body. Your brain sends a signal it shouldn't. Your muscles fire when they're supposed to be shutting down, and your entire body lurches awake as a result. But why? What is your brain actually doing at that moment? And why does it happen to some people every single night while others almost never experience it? The answer involves one of the oldest survival systems in the human brain, and it has been firing the same way for hundreds of thousands of years. To understand hypnic jerks, you need to understand what your brain is actually doing as you fall asleep. Sleep isn't a simple on-off switch. It's a carefully coordinated shutdown sequence where your brain gradually hands over control from your conscious mind to your unconscious one. During this handover, your muscles begin to relax, your breathing slows, and your body temperature drops slightly. But here's where it gets interesting. As your muscles begin to relax and go limp, your brain receives an unusual signal. The sudden drop in muscle tension, the feeling of your body going slack, is interpreted by one very ancient part of your brain as a warning sign. That ancient part is your reticular activating system. It's the oldest alarm system in your brain. And hundreds of thousands of years ago, when our ancestors slept in trees or on unstable ground, a sudden feeling of going limp meant one thing: you were falling. So, your reticular activating system does exactly what it evolved to do. It fires an emergency signal to your muscles: contract, now, to grab onto whatever you're falling from. The problem is, you're not falling. You're lying in bed. But your brain doesn't know that yet. It's running a program that hasn't been updated in hundreds of thousands of years. And here's the part that researchers find most remarkable. The hypnic jerk isn't a malfunction. It's your brain working exactly as designed. The very system that kept your ancestors alive, that stopped them from falling out of trees in the night, is still running inside your skull right now. Every single time you fall asleep. It just has nowhere useful to send its signal anymore. This theory, known as the evolutionary hypothesis, is the most widely accepted explanation among neuroscientists. But it's not the only one. And the competing theories reveal something even stranger about what your brain is doing at night. Here's where it gets genuinely strange. Some neuroscientists don't buy the evolutionary falling theory at all. They argue hypnic jerks are something else entirely, a glitch in the brain's shutdown sequence itself. As you fall asleep, your brain has to coordinate an incredibly complex handover between two completely different operating systems. Your conscious brain, responsible for movement, thought, and awareness, has to transfer control to your unconscious brain, responsible for breathing, heart rate, and the deeper rhythms of sleep. Sometimes during this handover, the conscious brain fires one last involuntary signal, a kind of final twitch before it goes offline, like a computer sending a last error message before it shuts down. And that twitch, that final misfired signal, jolts your entire body awake. What makes this theory compelling is that hypnic jerks happen far more often when you're overtired, stressed, or have had caffeine. All three of these make the brain's shutdown sequence more chaotic and error-prone. More chaos in the handover means more misfired signals. More misfired signals means more hypnic jerks. So the next time it happens, you're not being saved from falling. You're watching your brain crash and reboot. What this tells us is that your brain at the moment of sleep is far more active and far less in control than most people realize. The transition into sleep isn't peaceful surrender. It's a complex and sometimes chaotic negotiation between ancient systems and modern ones. If you experience hypnic jerks frequently, the most effective things you can do are reduce caffeine after midday, manage stress before bed, and make sure you're not chronically sleep deprived. All three reduce the chaos in your brain's shutdown sequence and give it a cleaner handover into sleep. And if it still happens anyway, which it will, you can at least appreciate what you're actually witnessing. A brain that is hundreds of thousands of years old, still running the same survival code it always has, still convinced for just one fraction of a second that you might be falling. But here's what keeps neuroscientists up at night. No pun intended. If your brain is running ancient survival code while you sleep, what else is it running that you don't know about? What other programs from hundreds of thousands of years ago are still firing inside your skull right now? Shaping your decisions, your fears, your instincts, without you ever knowing? That's a much deeper mystery, and it's exactly what Zyvogen is going to dig into next.